you're getting too big. It's just for night-night. It's gonna be a nice day tomorrow. It's gonna be, you just had a bottle. You are fine. It's gonna be a nice day tomorrow. It's gonna be a nice day tomorrow. Yeah, we'll play outside, okay? You've gotta get a little night-night. Nope, get a little night-night. Happy Saturday! We are on our way to the farmer's market at Beeline. So we've got a bunch of chicks and empty boxes, and we are heading there now. After that, we're going to be going to Bristo to meet up with Jason on the Junotes, and we are going to be at the Homesteader event that they have there at the VFW Hall, and I will be speaking at 3:30. So it's going to be a very full day. Let's get it started. I'm going live. Say hi! We are at the Beeline Farmers Market here in Mounds, and I was going to go live and let you guys know what's going on today. So here's Jeremy at our little booth behind our truck. We have sold out on almost all of our chicks, which is a wonderful thing. We hatch every single week, so every Friday I have more chicks available. I have cochins and silkies and a few olive eggers left. All the other purebred large fowl are already sold. So it is a nice farmer's market. I would say there's probably 20 vendors here. Not bad for the very first one of the year. Like I said earlier, we are heading to Bristo, to the Homesteading and Garden Expo or convention, whatever you want to call it. And I will be speaking at 3:30 about backyard chickens. Come out and see us if you're over in that neck of the woods. Won't have very many chickens for sale, but I hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday, and it's really great to see you on here. I'm starving. We are in Bristo.
Bristow, America.
Bristow, America. And we are hungry. We just finished the Beeline Feed Farmers Market, and we are gonna grab some Bristo Taco Bell. Is it good?
We're in Crocker Mayor country. The mayor of
Jason for mayor. You having fun?
Yes.
Waiting on your friends? Oh, you're about to sell out?
Yes.
You're doing a
Next
good
customer's
job.
going to buy 6 or 9 here in just a minute.
Yeah, do it. Oh, they're all sleeping. Hi, babies.
I first wanted to just say thank you so much to the library, and if anybody goes by there, tell them thank you. Check out their seed library.
Our new mayor got elected. We were looking for a place to meet. We had to move.
Saying that a speaker did not show up and asked if they would want to speak. And so Flint Juno said of course he would, and is going to come up and speak about Highlands or camels.
I don't know.
Oh, he's going to speak about whatever he wants. So Flint, come on up and let's
So we'll try to wing this. I think what we'll do, I'll talk a little bit about how we got into homesteading. Me and my beautiful wife back there, Samantha. We have a homestead south of town. We go by Juno Acres. We are what we consider to be an unconventional homestead, meaning it is not like your typical people, like our families. Both Sam and I are both part of agriculture families, background-wise.
Hey everybody, I'm Chrissy. I'm from Paragon Ridge Ranch. Hi. I'm going to talk about some backyard chicken things today. I was going to keep it real general, not knowing where everybody is on their journey, if they just started with chickens or if they've had them for 20 years. How many of y'all have chickens? Used to. That counts. I have chickens. How many don't and they hate them? Okay, so I want to talk about chickens a little bit, just making sure. Today I'm just going to talk about if you're going to get some chicks, how to choose the best for you and your family or for your homestead, what they need to survive, some things to look for, and then so on and so forth. And at the end or in between, if you guys have any questions, just throw your hands up and ask me, because I have a whole bunch of knowledge in here, so I might spit things out and get off track. But I'll try to stay on track. So it's spring, everyone's kind of getting the itch to start chickens. It's really exciting. It's a good time because if you get them now, they should be laying by the fall. So when you go to the stores, you see all these chickens. It's really great if you could educate yourself just a little bit before you go. You might want a chicken that you eat. You might want a chicken that just lays the most eggs per year, like 300 plus a year. Or you might not really care. You just want the fuzzy, cute ones that run around the yard and sometimes lay an egg. So when you go into it, you need to kind of know, because it'll save yourself a lot of time and money. I personally, we have a small hatchery on our homestead. It's called Paragon Ridge Ranch, and then my hatchery I call Paragon Homestead Hatchery. And I have rainbow varieties. So what that is I have some specialty chickens that lay the different rainbow eggs. When you hear rainbow egg envy or rainbow egg basket, I have all the breeds that make the dark green, the dark blue, the really dark chocolate, the pink, you know, all those fun colors. Working on some speckles. When you want to start with chicks, ask yourself, do I want meat birds? Do I want really great layers, or do I just want something fancy and rare? Most of the time when you go to the big box stores, you're gonna see lots of straight run. Straight run means you don't know if it's a boy or girl. Pullets means that they're female, but it's like 95% from the commercial hatcheries. If you're wanting quantity of chicks, you get them from a big box store. If you want quality, like for show birds or something that's gonna be healthier and have better genetics, you go to someone that has like hatchery or they've been doing it for years just to get the really good genes on the chickens. Once you get them, you're just gonna need something really easy like a Rubbermaid tote, a trough, you can make a brooder. Once you get the chicks and you bring them home, they're gonna need heat, they're gonna need food and water, and then something for under their feet. Never use newspaper. They could spread their legs and get splay leg. It's kind of like an out of socket hip. You can use pine shavings. I keep mine all on hardware cloth, so they never touch the poop. The poop falls down underneath it and we clean it out. It's really good so they don't get sick. When they peck poop and peck dirty stuff, they can get sick. They can get bacteria called coccidiosis. Real simple, don't overthink it. People will tell you their opinions and tell you all these different things you need to do. Whenever you get chicks, they're not that hard. They're really not. As long as they have good heat and clean water and fresh food. Their food will be in a crumble size when they're babies, and it's gonna be called a chick starter. And it's called that because it doesn't have the high calcium in it. There's something called a layer pellet or a layer crumble. When they're about 16 weeks, you switch them to that. That has the higher calcium that their body needs to make the eggs. It also helps their muscles, helps their bones and their joints and things like that. But you don't ever wanna give a layer feed to a baby because they have no way to get rid of that extra calcium because they're not laying yet. It can hurt their pancreas. Once they outgrow that Rubbermaid tote or that trough, it'll be about 4 to 6 weeks. They'll start jumping up on the top. You'll probably put some screening or some kind of barrier on the top so you don't come into the garage and see them wandering all over. At 4 to 6 weeks, they'll be fully feathered and they can go outside. They can't go with adults yet. They have to stay by themselves because they're too little to defend themselves. But you do need to make sure they have a shelter that protects them from the wind and the rain. What seems to happen for me over the years is I put them outside. I wait 2 or 3 months myself. And then of course you get a rainstorm and they get wet and then the wind blows on them and then they get cold and then they shiver and then you come out and you have some dead birds. They also like to pile in the corner to stay warm, even though they shouldn't because they're fully grown, like fully feathered and they shouldn't be doing that. But sometimes they do a little dog pile and they'll come out and there'll be 1 or 2 dead in the morning. To try to prevent that is just to make sure that they have an area to go in away from the wind. And then they will naturally they'll dry out and they'll be okay. Once they're big enough to like a full-size chicken, like 4.5, 5 pounds, you can introduce them to your chickens that you already have and put them in their coop. You might want to do it at night because everyone's sleeping and it's calm and quiet and you just sneak them in there and when they all wake up in the morning, there's these new chickens. They will not intermingle at first, but slowly as the week goes on, they'll start talking to each other and hanging out together. You'll find that the younger ones that you bring in for the new year don't really want to hang out with the older ones and they might peck them, but there is a pecking order. They'll figure it out in a couple weeks. You're not really going to have any problems. If you do, then you remove the problem, which might be like a really mean hen. Is generally what it is.
And what week was that you introduced them?
When they're bigger, when they're almost full size, like 4.5, 5 pounds. So probably about 4 or 5 months. Whenever you can put them out there, just watch them. When you go out there the next morning, just watch and make sure that there's no mean hens. Hens are worse than roosters sometimes.
Wow.
Because they're in charge. Yeah. They'll like flare up their lion mane just like a rooster and they'll run around peck. They'll make them move away from the food and not let them eat and they'll often like go to a corner and just kind of sulk or be by themselves because they're hungry. So just watch. It doesn't happen always. There's certain breeds that are meaner. Like Rhode Island Reds are kind of meaner. They're very mean. So those are the kinds to watch when you're integrating in a new flock. Some of the reasons that you want certain types of chickens, this is just about some of the joys of poultry. Of course, you get fresh eggs from them, depending on which color that you get, they all taste the same. Chickens do lay a large, medium, or small egg. If you get something called a bantam, they lay a smaller egg, and just not as often. There's some really good large fowl breeds like Rhode Island Red, Barred Rocks, Orpingtons, Wyandottes. They lay often. If that's what you want, then you look for those commercial layers. To go back to the other type, which was the meat bird, if you want them, you do have to buy them from a big box store, or you can buy them online. They're artificially inseminated, a Cornish cross. You can't just reproduce them locally, so you're not going to find anyone local that has them for sale. That type. So you'll have to buy them online and have them sent to you. But that would be your meat bird that you would grow out for 8 weeks.
What's a multi-purpose bird, like an egg and a meat bird?
Yeah, there's quite a few. There's so many. I mean, a good one would be like a Jersey Giant, because they get up to like 7 pounds. But even honestly, like your Orpingtons, they get at 6 or 7 pounds. They get huge. Your Brahmas are pretty big. Your Rhode Island Red Roosters, they can get really, really big. And sometimes people have a lot of roosters and they decide that they cull them and they put them in the freezer. If it's not a meat bird, what I hear often is they're a little more tough. So you want to cook them on a slow and low, like in a soup or in a casserole, or something that you cook for a few hours in the crock pot, things like that. It wouldn't be good for just breasts because it'd be too tough, is what I hear. I haven't done it, but it's different than the breast that you buy at the store. That's a whole other story. That's got fillers and all kinds of things in it just to make it softer and things like that. So besides your eggs, you're gonna get in all different varieties and colors. If you do let them out, if you have controlled any kind of predator issues, or you have like guardian dogs, or they have a huge coop, they can eat bugs, ticks. They're really good at foraging and scratching. When they poop, they're putting fertilizer on your garden and your area. Some people do kind of a rotational grazing and they keep them in a hoop house and they move them every couple days, fertilizing the ground underneath them and moving them to fresh pasture. Just they continue to do it. So they're fertilizing their, whether it be for cows or for their goats, they're fertilizing their pasture. No one's sitting in dirty poops. They're moving the next day. It just continues to go. And of course, they're getting bugs and crickets that are jumping in there too. Bug and tick control, they give you eggs. They're great foragers. The whole fertilization is to reduce your chemical use on your farm. If you want to be organic, non-GMO, if you want to be a farm like that, this would be a great start. One of the things that you can do is use it for compost. So when you clean out their chicken coop, you can throw it into a compost pile, let it sit, because it's hot manure. You can let it sit for 6 months, and then you can use it in the garden. So there's like so many ways you can use a chicken.
They're also entertaining.
They are. They're very entertaining. That's what I was going to say. If anything, just watching them, they're fun. You can spend countless hours watching them. And they're really good to teach kids some responsibilities, whether it be something as simple as check their water, take the scoop and go feed them, take these chicken scratch, and just go throw it out there and play with the chickens, go collect eggs, things like that. So it's easier than a dog to teach them how to keep some responsibilities. Making money. You can make money on chickens. It just depends on what scale you want to do. You can sell eating eggs. You can sell hatching eggs. You can hatch out eggs like I do and sell chicks, or you can grow those meat birds that I talked about a minute ago, and you can sell them. You can sell them when they're at the 8-pound range, 6, 7, 8 pounds. Whenever they're 8 weeks or so, you could sell them and they could butcher them, or you could butcher them and sell them yourself. You could also take them to butchers. But lots of people do that. So they might get themselves 100. They're going to keep 50 for their freezer, but they're going to sell 50 to the guy next door. And he didn't have to do any work. That's a whole kind of other thing. You have to feed them a higher protein, and they eat a lot. That kind of bird eats a lot. But do I have any questions so far?
On the meat birds,
Mhm.
if you were selling them, do you have to go through something like USDA or something to get approved to be able to do that? Not that I want to, but
You do on the birds.
Okay.
There's something called a cottage law or a homestead law that you need to look into. Just type in Oklahoma cottage laws. There's all kinds of rules and laws for things that you have at home, or butcher at home, or can grow. There's all kinds of laws. But there's lots of laws that allows you to do it as a homesteader.
Okay.
So if you have it processed and you sell it, it has to be processed at a butcher and it has to be USDA inspected and stamped for you to sell in like a retail setting. But if you're selling the birds to the guy next door and he takes them to the butcher, that's on him. He's
Right.
deciding what he wants to do. And it's for him to eat for his family, and he's not selling it. He doesn't have it USDA.
Okay.
With any animal or livestock and being a good steward and shepherd to your land, you do need to look for illnesses and parasites, things like that. Generally, they'll give you an indication. It might be a chicken kind of off in the corner by itself, or it looks like it might be getting a little more thin. It might be, sitting there with its head down just a little bit and looking kind of droopy. The first thing you should look at would be for parasites, that would be lice or mites. You could just like lift up their little neck feathers and look under there, look under their wings, look by their vent. You'll see them if they have them. There's really easy to treat. It's not a dirty thing, it's a tree thing. So the wild birds go roost in the trees and they drop them down, or the wild birds go into the coop and share the food, share the water in the same area, and that's how the chickens get them. So there's something called First Saturday Lime. You can sprinkle it on there, watch yourself respiration wise. You can sprinkle it when they're roosting at night on them. It's all natural. It's made in Oklahoma. Or you can put 2 drops of ivermectin on the back of their neck on their skin. Just 2 drops for a 5-pound hen, or or a rooster, and that'll get rid of all internal and external parasites. If you choose to use ivermectin. I know it's controversial. It's whatever you choose for your farm.
What was the line?
First Saturday Lime. First Saturday Lime. And you could order it online. There's not a lot of places locally that have it. I'll tell you here in a little while, I have a coupon code. I think it's 20% off. If you need it, I can get it for you to order online.
I put it in on waters and in the feeds.
Yep.
What
Oh, and
did you put in? First Saturday line? It's like diced peaches,
but it's lime.
yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna ask that, cause I put diatomaceous earth in a bucket and they just put it in their
Yeah, so you can.
coop and they'll go brush it on themselves.
Right, so with parasites or mites, you can use diatomaceous earth. You can put it in their dust bath. You could also sprinkle it on them again, watch your respirations.
Yeah.
You could use permethrin if you want to, like if you're not scared to use chemicals. That's gonna work every time. That's like flea and tick. You can put that on many animals, but the First Saturday Lime you can sprinkle on goats, your dogs. I put it in my trough for my Highlands, and it settles at the bottom, and it doesn't turn green algae, and mosquitoes won't grow in there. You can put it in koi ponds, like with the fish, and it reduces the algae. I know it's all natural, so it's one of those crazy
First
things.
Saturday
First
Lime.
Saturday Lime. I
Okay.
use that on a lot of things. So back to the chickens, you would look for parasites. If it's not that, you would need to look at their vent. Do they have a dirty butt? If they have dirty butt, sometimes that's a sign of worms. They can get worms just from scratching and eating, like June bugs can give them worms as an example. If one has it and the other one pecks at its poop, it can get worms. It's not uncommon, but it's not often that you just see a big pile with worms in it. That ivermectin I said works for that. You can also use Safeguard makes the goat white liquid that you would use to deworm a goat or Valdazen. You can put some of that in their water and treat them that way if you have a large quantity of the flock. So they're real simple fixes. It's just something you have to stay on top of their health and make sure that they're healthy. Another thing you can look for is coccidiosis is a bacteria in their gut. So kind of like humans, they say your health starts with your gut. Have yogurt, have fermented feeds, things like that. Coccidiosis is a bacteria in their gut, and the medicine that you give them would be in a liquid or in a feed, and it's a thiamine blocker. You just can't give them too much cord because you block the thiamine and then they can't absorb the nutrients and they starve to death. So sometimes I see people when they have like a 4 or 5 week old and they're lethargic, they're not walking, well, what about this, and this? No, they're fine. It's because they are not getting the nutrients and absorbing them because they were, just a little dab of cord in their water every day. I won't pre-measure it, I'll just keep giving it to them. Enough's enough. It's not good. So please use your measurements correctly if you're gonna use anything like that. Some people, there's kind of a controversy with the medicated feed and the non-medicated feed on the starter. I'm bouncing back to the beginning, you guys, I'm sorry. The medicated chick starter has the medicine in it for coccidiosis. It's perfectly dosed for their little bodies. Some people choose to go all natural. You can, they don't have to have it. It goes back to gut health. I'm trying to think of some other illnesses. That's generally like the 3 things that you would ever kind of really be concerned. Some questions when you're getting chicks, not knowing if you want to be all organic or non-GMO, anything like that, is have they been vaccinated? A lot of commercial hatcheries do vaccinate their chicks, and they just go ahead and when they order, like a big box store orders it, they just say yes, vaccinate them for Merrick's, vaccinate them for coccidiosis. That's your choice, but it's something to ask. A lot of my customers chose me over the years because I don't vaccinate them, and when I started them on non-GMO certified organic feed. That's a whole other thing. If you choose to feed your birds certified organic non-GMO, it has to be a large percentage of their life that they're on that for you to be considered an organic chicken. If you are kind of like bouncing back and forth, buying organic, and the next year buying something from feed store and going back and forth, they won't be considered organic in their growth for their meat. You can get a lot more money for their meat and for their eggs if you did feed them that. I'm either way. Like I could do it either way myself. I don't eat mine, so They're more for breeders. You guys have any questions? Jason?
You have a bunch of different color eggs.
Yes.
Is it mainly just for looks, or is there a benefit for the different types of eggs?
It makes mama happy. That's what it's for. It makes me happy. There's absolutely no benefit in any of the colors of the eggs.
Is there
It's just for
egg that
looks.
most people go for, color-wise?
It just depends on what you want. It just depends. So like I like the different colors. You know, you've been over, you see all my different colors of eggs. I just like the way they look, and it's what does really good business-wise for me when I'm selling is all these different colors, because you can't just go to the store and buy one that lays a really dark chocolate. You can try, but it's gonna be really a tan. Or you can't just go to the store and buy one that's blue because it's an Easter egg, or it might be green. You don't know, so you stick with more of the pure breeds and you get an Americana or you get an Aricana. That's a great question, you guys. All eggs taste the same. The only difference in them is you either have a white shell egg or a blue shell egg. That's it. That's the only two differences. And then the size. Different chickens lay different size eggs. Good question. Any other questions?
My chickens' cones got frostbite and fell off. Will they ever grow back or anything? No.
They're gonna look like a hammerhead shark for the rest of their life. Yeah. So lots of people in the north and in Canada, in the cold places, they choose breeds that have a pea comb. The pea comb is very tight to the skin, and sometimes it looks like a triple line, and it's really tight so they don't get frostbite. Us that like the ones with the big, huge combs, the beautiful 5-point, mine all look like that too. It was really hard this last Arctic blast to keep everybody. I even did the Vaseline on them and all that, and they still lost it. And some of them lost a little bit on their little wattles, like just the little tips of it turned black and fell off.
Don't tell my husband, I told him it was all his fault.
Yeah, Mother Nature and him. I mean, it's a together thing. Something else to look for, Jenny, sorry. Go ahead.
Do you have any of the lavenders or purples that lay the eggs that would be lavender or purple? Because that's the only color I don't have any.
So there's something called a purple copper. I don't know if you guys have seen them on Instagram or if you go down those places. I don't. So what that is a black copper maran that has a heavy bloom. The bloom is what the hen puts on it as it lays it to protect it from bacteria. Some have a really heavy bloom and it looks chalky. You can lick your finger and you can see a different color, you know, whenever it's wet versus when it's dry. What they do, because they've found out that it's genetic, they take all the ones with that heavy bloom and they keep them in their own pen and they just cross back breeding the boys, the girls from them. And then down the line it creates that heavy bloom. It looks purple, but it really isn't. Like the gray ones that you see, they're really green. That look like a gray, and you lick your finger, it's green underneath. For the chicken eggs. I have black duck eggs that are really black, but that's the gray ones that you see.
Do you have the solid black meat chickens?
No, I don't.
Solid black?
AM Shamani? Yes, I don't. I don't have those. I don't choose to have them. Do any of you have them? No.
I was just wondering how they, I mean, is that a lot of genetic backbreeding and everything to get
They
that?
were imported, I think, in 2019 from Greenfire Farms. It's a melanistic chicken. Everything is black on it. Its comb, its feet, its tongue, its ears, everything is completely black. They brought them over from Greenfire, and I think they were about $1,000 a piece when they first brought them over, because it's very expensive to import. They have to sit in a holding area for 6 months, make sure they don't have any diseases before they come in, and they start breeding them. Sometimes they go pick up eggs and bring them back on a plane, so they can get away with that, because they can't spread any disease generally if you do a good sanitation process. They started crossing them into things, and everyone sells a Sermani now, but you'll see them, they'll have a little red in their comb, a little red on their wattles, a little red streak in their hair. They're not full blood. Those are just cool looking. They lay a white egg.
I was just wondering if there's
Yeah.
a lot of crossbreeding, messing with genetics and all
To
that.
get it, to get the black.
I don't know the whole background on that. I don't know. There's lots of genetics. You know the Punnett Square guys from school, 7th grade? He was a doctor and a mathematician and also genetics. So Punnett created lots of breeds. White and True Blue, White and True Green, Krista Cream Light Bar. He created a whole bunch back in the 40s and the 50s and into the 60s. So the Punnett Square that you learned, he used for crossbreeding chickens to get certain feather colors and certain egg colors. Yeah, so that's pretty cool if you ever look at Punnett, or if you have a kid that's doing a science project, say, do it on Punnett. You know, you learn so much.
So chicken genetics don't really matter, they can all breed back in with each other, is that?
They can.
Okay.
So I'm a geek with the chicken genetics. I like the green eggs, and just like a box of crayons, you put a blue and a brown together, it makes green. So that first time you cross anything that came from a blue and anything that came from a brown, its offspring, if it's female, will lay a green egg. The first time. Then you cross back and you might lose that blue genetics, that blue gene, and then that might go all brown, or it might just go all back to blue. So yeah, it gets pretty deep.
Okay.
It gets pretty deep. It's a whole other conversation that I could spend hours on. But I do a lot of videos on chickens. If you guys watch YouTube videos, it's safe, it's family friendly. I do a lot of things on chickens. I'll talk about hatching, I'll show you my hatcher, I'll show you when I put them in the brooder, I'll show you when I go to farmers markets. I talk about health, I talk about brooding, hatching, I do all of it. I show you my chickens, I take you with me to collect the eggs. It's fun and exciting, and then you can see the size, what the mothers look like, what the fathers look like, all that. But that's all on our Paragon Ridge Ranch, and it's on the Facebook page that she used to advertise for you guys to come today. If you want to join that and look on there, I have a whole playlist for chickens. I try to do a lot of like education on them.
Yes.
And I also go live sometimes to answer any questions. I get like 30 to 50 messages a day on my hatchery website about questions, and I try to educate everybody. They might just be getting into it and have no idea. And I ask them, what do you want for your family? Do you want something docile and sweet and kind? Go with an Orpington or a Wyandotte. If you want to eat birds, go with this. If you want something fancy, go with this. And so I kind of route them in the direction that they need to go.
I highly suggest putting notifications on for her lives because she's amazing with her lives and will ask you or answer any questions you ask and goes
easier
way
to
into depth.
Yeah, yeah,
So-
and I answer, and you can learn from other people's questions too when they ask.
Yeah.
You can learn what they have to say.
I agree, because I've been watching her this past week since I found her.
Oh,
Yay! This is what this is about.
My question's more for everyone in here rather than Chrissy. Is there anybody that is looking to start some chicks but don't have any? I would like to buy some for y'all.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That's so sweet. You
It's
guys.
easier to get forgiveness
Flint's like, I'll take some. That's so sweet.
That's sweet.
You guys don't know, that's Jason from the Crockers. He's local to the Bristow area. If you haven't gone to his channel, it's called The Crockers or The Crocker Life.
They're building a grain bin into a tiny house.
Yes, building a group and a barn. I didn't tell you guys about ourselves. Let me do that. Let me back up just for a second. So not too far from here, we moved there in 2019. We lived in a camper and we built a barndominium. And I really wish I was videoing and doing some more educational stuff at that time. I had the time, I didn't even think about YouTube, like at all. So it would have been really cool watching the whole build and then building the paddock, building the barn, getting the animals, doing the things. So chickens are a gateway drug to goats. So of course when I moved out there before the house was built, I had to get goats. So I had goats in with chickens in like this big, huge fenced area that wouldn't really stay up, so they got out. And then I had to get a donkey, you know, because Mini Donkey's super cute and he's got to guard the chickens in the woods. So I got Whiskey, and he's such a cute baby. Ah, Whiskey Whisk. You can see him on my videos, he's awesome. And then finally we got the barn built, and then we did get the whole paddock done, and that's 17 acres. And we're on top of a mountain, so they could not get the T-post down. So they had to use an auger, and then they had to go get like a, what's the thing? Jackhammer. And they had to put the poles down, and they had to put this plate into a rock and weld the metal to, it was just ridiculous, right? So they finally got it done, and then I got animals, and then I went to like 40 goats, and then you get rid of 20, and then you go to 60, and then you get rid of 3, you know, so I did that up and down, and then you get Pig, you know, because he's free, and he's really cute, the same as Winston, and he's a potbelly, he has no purpose, he can't breed, he doesn't have, so he's super cute, and he's pointless, you know, the goats, they're just for cuteness, and they have babies, so I have them, and then I had all these chickens, which are just awesome because they're just there, and okay, and then I straightened up, and I decided I don't want to do goats anymore, so I went to sheep, and I got a Highland cow, and then I got another Highland cow, and I've got turkeys, and now I've got guineas, and now I'm doing all the breeding of the chickens, which I've done before, but it's been other breeds. So homesteading can be whatever, like Flint was saying, it could be whatever you want it to be. You could have a little tiny backyard neighborhood and you could homestead, you can grow tomatoes, you can grow them in pots, you can grow them in a patio, in an apartment complex, that's homesteading if that's what you want it to be. You don't have to have all the acreage, or you do. I have all the acreage and I can't use it, it's mountainous and woods. I can't get a T-post in the ground. You know what I mean? So it's really hard, I mean, but I'm doing it. I get frustrated and I curse a lot, but and it ruins my plans. You know what I mean? Like, so we have these raised beds and they're all rotting out, and then my greenhouse has hail damage from that hailstorm back in like September, October, and every day I cry and pout about it, and then we go to the store and it's like $57 for a panel to fix it. I'm like, yeah, let's just start some seeds in the house. We're just gonna do that for now. I don't need like 27 different varieties of tomatoes. We'll just stick to 25. You know, so you just do it, and I'm doing it. I don't can, but I might. You know, I'm not making sauce and salsa, but I like to eat it. You know, I like okra. I've done that before. I've done some pickles before with like zucchini that was left over. Great, it's good. I'm not a prepper. I'd like to be. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a mom and I'm doing this and I'm doing videos and I'm selling chickens, and so everyone could do, you know, you could do anything. Just write it down and set a goal and just work towards it.
Yes.
Don't get in over your head, because when you get the space and the time, you want all the things, and it'll come. You could be like me and just go get all the things, but then you gotta settle down and be like, what do I really need? You know, why do I have baby cow? He's my Highland. I love him. I love him. Jenny,
Baby cow,
what about him?
call baby cow for us.
No, I'm not gonna do that. Baby cow, come here, baby cow. Baby cow. That's what I call him. He looks at me. He gives kisses. It's really, really sad. The reason I have Highland is not so much like Flint and Sam do. My mom's from Scotland. So when she grew up, she'd have to cross this huge field to walk to school in Scotland, and she was always chased by a red bull. So my whole life I just heard these stories. I used to get chased by a bull. I used to run to school. So that's what I always wanted my whole life. So I finally got one a couple of years ago. And he's like a puppy dog to me. I brush him. He learns how to kiss. He knows his name. He's starting to get a little pushy with me. He's 2 years old now. So I do have to watch those horns, but it doesn't stop me from giving
I just want chicks and
Yeah, no, it's gateways, I'm telling you. So that was a pointless pet for me because I won't eat him. I have tried Highland meat before. It's really good. Somebody I know had one. It's really good, but he's not edible. And then I got Isabella from the Junots. I bought her last year. Her birthday was 2 days ago. She's 1 year old. So maybe someday I'll have some babies, you know, and just have my own fold. And I have so much grass and oaks, like shrubby oaks that Jeremy's trying to take care of in the paddock. There's tons to eat. The lambs, the sheep, they all eat for free. I always make sure they have water and hay. In the winter, you feed them some grain. I mean, you just got to figure it out.
Right.
So my pointless animals actually do mow the yard.
Right.
The most expensive lawnmower ever, but I have it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a little bit about me. We have coonies also. We have registered coonies that just had babies last Sunday. Cute little buggers. They're so cute, and they're striped like a wild pig. So at first we were like, is it a wild pig? And of course it's not, because I know who the male is, but they're so adorable. I can't wait to see how they spot out. Like go from this to 8 weeks from now, whenever they're ready to be babies. They're super cute. But
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look those up. I've never seen those.
the coonies,
Yeah.
they're they don't root.
Oh, okay.
So they don't root, and they're pasture pig. They eat grass, so you don't have to feed them as much.
Okay.
And their fat is rendered, and it's highly sought after.
Oh,
And then their meat is more marbled and red. I have tried one of them. A friend gave me some of their meat. It was very good, very tender. It's red, so you get pork chops at the store and they're kind of pink white. This is like red like a steak. It works. But they're very tasty, very moist. Do you guys have any questions
That's so cool.
about chickens? A thought?
If I brought baby chicks home, you talked about putting them in a tub. I mean, what could you really say if he's not finished with a breeder, right?
Well, I mean, this is what you do. You go up in the attic and you find the one that has the least amount of ornaments in it from Christmas, and you dump them out into a Walmart bag, right? So you got your tub, and then you go downstairs and get it all set up. Have a heat source. You can do a heat lamp or a heat pad. I don't know what you have. A little water, a little feed. Jason bought it for you. Except they were giving them away. What was I supposed to do?
That's what you said.
What was I supposed to do?
Yeah, he was giving them away.
You guys, thank you so much for waiting to the end of the day and letting me talk for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys give Chrissy a round of applause. She drove all the way out here and already had an event today. She is the best. Thank you.
Well, we are back at home. We had 2 events today. It's been a very busy day. I have a sore throat now. It kind of feels like I'm losing my voice from talking so much, but it was a wonderful day.
That'd be a good thing, not
It
a
would
bad
be
thing.
a good thing. It was a good thing. So we sold out of almost all our chicks, and guess why?
Jason at the Homestead event, while she was speaking, asked a question, and he said that he was going to buy chicks for anybody that wanted to start with chickens. So, anyways,
to start their homestead. Isn't that
Yes.
so nice of him?
Yes.
He said he just wanted to contribute and help them start their homestead with chickens. It was
Absolutely.
so great.
Yeah.
So we had a line of people, and they got to pick out their chickens that they wanted. Jeremy boxed them up, and they got to take them home. So they got a little piece of Paragon Ridge Ranch at their home. Thank you so much to Jason Crocker with the Crockers. That was so sweet of you.
Coffee with the Crockers,
Oh, yes.
Crocker Life,
Yes.
all the above. Thank you so much. You're an extremely nice guy. And you had some good questions as well. So.
Yeah, always has good questions.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this video. We would appreciate if you would like and subscribe, hit the little dingle bell, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.